Hi, I'm Dani.
And I'm Si. Welcome to Business in the Brew, a podcast dedicated to all things business with the occasional cuppa.
We take a business story, theory, or something we just want to chat about and give it a dusting of our own special personality and sense of humour, combined with our experience and knowledge. We're both business graduates and have run our own businesses for many years. We can't wait for you to listen.
Danielle.
Simon David Price.
Thank you. Ooh, got a good one for you today.
Okay.
This is whatever happened to British home stores?
I loved British Home Stores. There was a massive one in Plymouth when I was at uni.
Really?
Yeah, I really loved it.
There's a massive
one
everywhere.
Too.
Yeah. We're not talking about
No, all right, sorry. Yeah.
Anyway, right. Remember this in your childhood? Often rainy Saturday, your mum needs new cushions, your dad needs a new work shirt, so you go along with them. Yeah, you end up in a shop.
Uniform from BHS.
Yes, exactly. It smells faintly of carpet and cafeteria food.
Carpet and cabbage.
Yeah. Lighting slightly too bright. Every aisle seems to have something your parents need, but you don't really want. You just want to go to the toy area. Well, that nostalgia for British home stores. It was definitely what do they call it? An
really good place to be.
Almost an institution.
Okay.
And for generations of British families, it simply was just there. Everyone knew where it was.
Stainless steel gondolas for clothing.
Yes.
Loved it.
I was picturing exactly where it was in Nottingham. That was the only one I knew I didn't go to.
Where was it in Nottingham? I haven't lived here that long.
It was at the bottom of Maid Marian Way. You know that horrible car park at the bottom of Maid Marian Way? Yeah, it was right next to it.
Oh.
Collins Street. And so you could go in there from the outside, or you could also go in from the inside of the Broadmarsh Centre. Of course, that's all been completely razed to the ground. Doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. Nottingham has changed. And everyone remembers it. Well, everyone of an age, that is.
Ancient people like us will remember British Home Stores.
The displays of lampshades, floor to ceiling. You remember that? Yeah. It was founded in 1928, so a year before the Great Depression.
That sounds like a really poor choice of time to start.
Yeah, because of course they'd know that, wouldn't they?
Well, that's true. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And for nearly 90 years, it was a British high street staple. Clothes, homeware, food, lighting. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't exciting. It was solid, affordable.
That was their tagline. We're not exciting. And we're certainly not glamorous. It wasn't, by the way. I looked up their tagline. It's made easy, was their original tagline.
Made easy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just that, which is weird because it's not actually a sentence. It's just two words. Which makes it a very poor tagline. But anyway.
But it was dependable. It was there.
Yes,
it was always there. You knew where it was.
You knew what you were going to get as well.
Yeah. At its peak, it had 163 stores across the UK. And it had more internationally as well. And it employed around 11,000
Which is ironic for a place called
people.
British Home Stores.
I know. But people had a thing for Britain, you know.
We are.
And then on the 28th of April, back in 2016, I thought it was longer ago than that, but it went into administration. By August, every single store had closed. And I remember the furore around it.
10 years ago.
Sorry?
It's only 10 years ago.
I know. I remember the furore about it. Where, you know, it was come on, people's jobs. Surely they can save people's jobs. Surely some of these stores can continue to function. Yeah, 90 years of trading gone in 4 months.
It's amazing how quick it happens when it actually happens.
Yeah,
it's quick.
Yeah. So what happened? Right. Well. One word answer, Green. Sir Philip Green. Yeah.
As in John Lewis, Sir Philip Green. Is he John Lewis?
No.
Did I just make that up?
One of the most celebrated retailers in Britain, the man who owned Topshop, Dorothy Perkins, Miss Selfridge, and the whole Arcadia empire.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
The man who had been knighted for services to retail. The man the tabloids call the king of the high street. He bought British Home Stores in the year 2000 for 200 million. What happened was one of the most comprehensive acts of corporate vandalism in modern business history. That's saying something, really.
That is. It's quite the visual.
Yeah. I'll get you some numbers. When he bought BHS in 2000, the company's pension scheme was in healthy surplus of £43 million in the black. And over the following 15 years, that surplus became a deficit of over £500 million. 571 million. Yeah.
Good Lord.
And in the same period, he and his family extracted over 580 million from the business in dividends, management charges, interest payments, and rental income. And the sources I've been reading about this state that in 2004 alone, he paid himself and his family a dividend of £1.2 billion. At the time, the largest single dividend in British corporate history.
Can you imagine the tax on that?
Well, it's funny you should say that.
Oh.
His wife, who formerly owned the business and lived in Monaco, received the money there entirely legally and entirely free of UK income tax.
That's galling.
Yeah. And whilst the pension pot was falling into deficit, and while the stores were becoming increasingly shabby, outdated, and unable to compete.
Yes, because there was no money.
With the rise of online shopping, pension fund was falling into deficit. All that was going on. And while the stores were becoming increasingly shabby, outdated, unable to compete with the rise of online shopping and fast fashion. All of that happening at the same time.
Yeah.
A joint parliamentary committee reviewing the collapse found that BHS was losing around £70 million a year from 2007 to 2014. Green had consistently resisted requests from pension trustees for higher contributions, and that in 2012 BHS's pension fund was funded at just 62% of what it owed, compared to an industry median of 81%. The committee's report described what had happened in language that doesn't often appear in parliamentary documents. They called it directly the unacceptable face of capitalism. And what did he do when it became obvious the business was failing?
Sold it, walked away.
Yeah.
Pretended it wasn't him.
Can you imagine for how much?
£1.
Yeah, bang on. Yeah.
Get me? I love it. Because everyone who does something wrong, right, they sell their business for £1.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. He sold it, and not to a credible buyer with a turnaround plan and fresh capital. Oh, yeah, got all this. And
to a scrap merchant.
He sold it for £1 to a man called Dominic Chappell. Now, he's worth examining just for a moment, because he's perhaps the most extraordinary choice of buyer for a £200 million business in the history of British retail.
Okay.
In comparison, he was a serial bankrupt. He'd been declared bankrupt 3 times, I believe. He had no retail experience whatsoever. He had no significant personal capital to invest. His consortium called...
He didn't bloody need it, did he? He only had £1.
How much have you got? I've got all this. How much do you...
Hang on, 5p. I've got £1. Yeah.
I can scrape together the change, yeah. His consortium, called Retail Acquisitions Limited, brought no new money to the deal. A parliamentary committee later described him with admirable directness as a manifestly unsuitable owner. and said it was inconceivable that someone with Green's experience could have seriously believed otherwise.
But, to be fair, you can sell it to whoever the hell you want. If it's your company, you can sell it to whoever the hell you want.
Patently true. The committee's conclusion was stark. Green had sold BHS in order to avoid paying the pension deficit himself.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. The question would be, why did the idiot at the other end buy it? Why would you want to be responsible for the pension deficit?
Here you go. Allow me to elucidate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got all this from a number of different sources here. So, but it's pretty much what happened is perhaps what you'd expect from a man with no retail experience. No capital and 3 previous bankruptcies taken on a failing 163 store chain with a 571 million pound pension black hole. What would you do?
What would I do? Honestly, I don't know.
Where would you start?
I'd probably try and raise capital to reinvigorate the estate in order to try and make it make money. That would probably be but then that would just create more debt. So actually that just makes the problem worse.
Absolutely. Yeah. So within 13 months it was in administration. Green tried late in the day to save his reputation by offering to fund part of the deficit. He eventually put in 363 million. Okay, well, that's a fairly good wedge.
A chunk,
following enormous public and regulatory pressure and MPs calling for his knighthood to be stripped. Yeah, that's how big this was. But 11,000 people lost their jobs. Around 20,000 pensioners face the prospect of reduced pensions, protected only by the Pension Protection Fund, which meant they received significantly less than they'd been promised.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did anyone face any legal consequences? Do you think?
No.
Well, Chappell was subsequently convicted and received a prison sentence for tax evasion.
I still want to know what he did in the 13 months to administration. Did he wander around his shops? Did he?
No idea.
Right.
The auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, were fined a then record £6.5 million for their failure to properly scrutinise BHS's accounts during Green's ownership. They'd also been selling non-audit services to the group, a classic conflict of interest. Yeah. Green himself was never prosecuted. He kept his knighthood, though the review of it ran into years of procedural complications. He kept his super yacht. I think that's called Lionheart, which tells you something about his self-image.
He didn't suffer at all, is what you're essentially saying.
And his Monaco lifestyle. So you go figure that one. Yeah, kind of.
What do you mean the bit where he didn't have to pay tax?
There's a Trumpian aspect to this. But there's a wider story here, though, about the British High Street, which is that, we can't let Green's villainy obscure the bigger picture. British Home Stores was also a victim of forces that have been reshaping the high street for decades.
And there are other brands that suffered the same.
It's not just the internet that's done that. Although it does play a part, the fast fashion revolution driven by Zara, H&M and Primark, offering clothes at BHS prices without BHS's rather beige aesthetic. Yeah. The collapse of the anchor tenant model, where department stores and large chains anchored whole shopping centres and their departure cascades into wider closures. So basically, you've got that one drawer,
the big store that everyone goes for, and then all the little ones like satellites. All of a sudden,
it's gone. Yeah, that's right. And I'd never really considered it in that way, but the anchor, is incredible. The anchor tenant. A shift of leisure spending from physical retail to experiences, and we are experiencing that ourselves right now. People are delaying purchase right now of high-priced goods for the home, and instead going on experiences, going on holiday, and, that kind of thing. They're kind of becoming fed up of things, and travel, eating out, and streaming. An awful lot of that is
streaming without adverts.
Yeah. British Home Stores was underfunded and poorly led, but even a well-run, properly invested BHS would have faced ferocious headwinds.
Yeah,
in the 2010s, just coming out of recession, and all of this going on.
And there are other brands that did the same. If you look at Woolworths, C&A, the Arcadia Group doesn't really exist anymore in the same way it did. Some of those brands still exist. The Pier. There were so many companies around that time. They couldn't revolutionise fast enough, or they didn't have the foresight to do so.
No, but a question is: was it doomed anyway? Well, I mean, it might have been, but it probably wouldn't have been thriving.
Nothing is predetermined to be doomed.
No, I get that. But it almost implies it operated within a vacuum. But of course, it would have probably been restructured, reduced, reshaped into something viable. You think about what happened to Woolworths. We ought to visit that one. Actually.
And the large format stores with multi-product offerings still exist. You've still got John Lewis and Marks and Spencer's.
Absolutely.
So those places could exist.
Yes,
but it takes the right leadership, the right change mindset.
And it's the right positioning as well. The positioning is everything. If you're positioned down there,
middle of the road, probably not the great position.
It's not. So if the money that was extracted had been invested or reinvested, if the pension deficit had been addressed while it was still manageable, of course, we can all say this in hindsight. But
100%.
Then again, countless different reports and commentators I've read If it's been sold to someone with a genuine plan rather than a convenient patsy. What he did was, Green did, was simply not allowing a failing business to fail. He extracted maximum value for himself and his family whilst it was profitable.
Yeah, he didn't give it a chance.
No, left it starved investment while it declined, and then disposed of it in a way that transferred the consequences. And it did. It transferred those consequences. Deficit of the pension, job losses, empty shops to everyone else. Pensioners' staff, pension protection fund, of course. Government's there to bail it out. And the high streets of Britain, which have never quite recovered from the tide of closures that followed, because it then had a knock-on
effect.
Yeah. And the point, I had a thought about what could be left of British home stores, and probably in some landfill somewhere, or a charity shop somewhere. There's a light shade somewhere from
BHS coat.
Yeah.
My favourite school skirt was from BHS. I really liked it. It had a thigh slit.
Oh.
Very inappropriate for school.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it though. It was size 10. I loved it.
Good grief. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, for those pensioners, they at least stepped in to protect the workers' pensions. It was imperfectly done, partially, but it held. But it's more than pretty much could be said for the King of the High Street there. Yeah, which is just I suppose he's just moved on. Doesn't look back.
It's him that ruined BHS. Don't get me wrong; it wasn't on a great trajectory anyway, but he ruined it.
No, yeah,
bad man.
Mm-hmm.
Naughty King of the High Street.
Well, he's still alive, and it was probably a very, very difficult time for him in his life, and maybe he's not that ruthless.
His hamster died or something.
Maybe I'm being a little bit too generous.
I think you're being very generous there. I disagree. He bad man. I liked BHS. Their cafe was great. They did lovely tea cakes.
Yeah.
Woolworths did lovely donuts.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I'm just reporting the stuff, but
you do it factually. Yeah. I'll be mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for supporting us by downloading and listening to this episode.
And a massive thank you also to Donnie, Emily, Nat and Lewis and the BTD Studios for all your expertise in bringing our podcasting dream to reality.
We'd love it if you commented on this episode, as we'd really like to know what you think and what you might like us to cover in future episodes.
And we'll see you on the next one.